As David mentioned, our group went through some different, we morphed into different things. We started as the group that created the plan. We've spent the fall getting ready for today, not necessarily all the logistics of today, but from today onwards. Because from today onwards, this is the official launch of what we're calling the Future Oxford Partnership. And it's amazing what you spend time talking about in a meeting, but we spent as a group, we spent quite a bit of time deciding what our name is. You could be Future Oxford what? We had branded the Future Oxford phrase pretty well, so we knew we wanted to keep with that. But as David mentioned, what Oxford County, one of the strengths is that we work together, and there's a natural partnership. And we just thought calling ourselves the Future Oxford Partnership just made sense. As the people who are going to sit around that table, we want to be partners in what we do and what we promote. And obviously, we want to foster and grow more partnerships in the county. So it just seemed like a natural name. So you see on the screen the members of the Future Oxford Partnership. I've introduced some of the folks that are here already. Randy Peltz is someone who is new to our group. Welcome, Randy. The partnership is structured, you can think of it like a board of directors, but we want to call ourselves a partnership. We're going to have representatives within that partnership that are listed up there who will be the conduits to the three pillars, the community, the environment, and the economy. It's important that as a group, we have to know what's going on out in the county as much as you can possibly know what's happening in all the corners of Oxford County. That's the only way we're going to be able to move the plan forward. We have to respect the work that's already being done. We have to find the gaps where there are some, and then we have to decide what's our next steps. And that's why we need that representation. And similar to the committee that we started with, this group, though smaller, we have that diversity. We have the diversity in geography, in background, both what people do in their day jobs and what they do volunteer work. Today is not only the launch of the Future Oxford Partnership, but it's also an opportunity for us to introduce our first employee. We knew way back when we started working on this that if this plan was going to have a life, it was going to evolve, if it wasn't just going to sit on a shelf or even on a website, we needed to have someone who'd be a champion of it. The people on the partnership, we're all dedicated to this. We've all put in a lot of time, and we're willing to put in more time. But if it was left up to us, the plan would only go so far. So we went upon the task in the fall of hiring a program director. The role of the program director will be they'll become the face of Future Oxford. Not they alone, but with our help, they will take on that responsibility to make sure that the plan is moving forward, that we keep progressing with the good work we've started through developing the plan and today and this event. So it's my pleasure to introduce Miranda Fuller, who's our program director. You'll have an opportunity to talk to Miranda once we're done the formal part up here. She will be circulating about the venue, and you can have a chance to talk to her, and she'll be happy to talk to you about what her role is and get to know you, and because that's part of her job, is to always be building relationships. I'm now going to ask Jay Heaman to come up, and Jay is going to introduce another facet of our communication strategy with Future Oxford.
Thanks, Chris, and welcome everyone. It's a real honor to be here representing both Woodstock Hydro and the new owner, Hydro One, but also Smart Energy Oxford and the group of partnerships. I've been with the utility for over 27 years, and we've had a lot of public exposure. We've spent a lot of time working on new innovative technologies and ideas, being out in the public venue and trying to connect with people. I realize this is going to be hard for you to believe, but not everyone feels electricity is just the most riveting thing that you've ever come across. And so what we find quite often is when we're trying to explain complex concepts to people, they tend to drift, or we just can't connect with them in the way that we really want to connect with them. So when we started working on our Whites Lane project, it really raised the bar for us because we were bringing together all of these disparate pieces of technology from renewable energy and storage and electric mobility and all of these concepts that made it even more difficult. And so when you think about trying to help people understand their smart meter, now we're way up here. And working with Dr. Jose Echeverri, one day he came to me and he said, you know, you really need to meet this gentleman, Neil Osborne. He's an environmental biologist. He's a world-class photographer, and he's now teaching this program, environmental visual media program, with Sir Sanford Fleming. And it's all about storytelling. It's all about creating the narrative. And so I went with my daughter to the ROM, and I think at the time it was small. Interestingly enough, it was highlighting small farming in Ontario, and it was just an incredible moment. And I was hooked at that point, and I thought, okay, if we're gonna be successful at this, we have to be able to tell the story. We have to be able to engage people in their own space and on their own terms. And so that started the journey with Neil Osborne. And just in a note, this is an example of the type of life that he lives. We spent the weekend with Neil and one of his students, and he had just gotten back from Ecuador in a rainforest with a tribe that hadn't really had a whole lot of contact. He's now heading off to the Falkland Islands, and then after that he's going to be on the east coast or the west coast of Canada doing another tour. So we've got this real broad perspective, and we're really thrilled to have Neil and his team working with us in Oxford. And so I'd like to introduce Neil Osborne.
So good morning, folks. I really am pleased to have the chance to speak, and it's only a couple minutes, so I have to be brief. But first thing I wanted to mention was my introduction can sometimes be a little difficult because it may sound like I'm doing a few things, but when I get a chance to introduce myself as a storyteller, it's something I'm starting to get more proud of and become a bit more bold about, because I think storytelling is becoming such a critical component of all of our lives, all of our personal lives, all of our professional lives. And so I was absolutely thrilled to, I think, what was originally Jay's vision and Dr. Jose Echeverry's vision to bring us on board. But then it didn't take any convincing to speak to the folks who are bringing all of this together, the Peter Crockett's, the David Mayberrys, and then, of course, the lovely, lovely people who we're starting to meet in the community. I think I've either had a cup of tea or a glass of wine, or I've gone for a walk with maybe a dozen folks in the community already. And so I'm really hoping we get to share more of these stories down the road. Very briefly, as Jay mentioned, my name is Neil Osborne. I am a storyteller, and what we're trying to do is take complicated issues like sustainability. It's a difficult word to digest, and proof of the pudding is we could ask those in the front row to define sustainability. We could ask you guys at the back to define sustainability. It's a tough word. All those definitions are going to be difficult. And so Evermaven, the communications agency that I've founded, takes these difficult words and tries to present them to audiences in a way that is immersive, that in a way that's tangible. And hey, science and sustainability can also be emotional as well. So if we get a chance to pull at the heartstrings like Kelly Gilson does with her team at United Way Oxford, we're doing our little part to help out. So my understanding is we get a chance to show Kelly's video that we've produced over the last month or so, along with two others. Jay was kind enough to be a character, and the lovely Cher Sprague, who some of you may know as well, up from Harrington. Well, let me take 2 more seconds, because it was at 6:40 a.m. one Tuesday morning where this 6'4" goofy character shows up at her front door, and Cher had no problem letting me come in, and the team and I got served a cup of tea, and that's how these stories often start. So I thank Jay and Kelly and Cher, and with luck we get to share more stories about the Future Oxford initiative. So pleased that the vision has come together, because Jay mentioned I get to go to some cool places. We're Barcelona's doing some amazing work with renewable energy. Vancouver's doing some amazing work with renewable energy. And then, of course, you learn about Oxford County. And so I don't have to travel any farther and use carbon footprints, because I'd like to do more work here. So my 2 minutes is up, and I'm going to...
United Way Oxford has spent a lot of time over the last few years working with community partners, working with people in the community to really get a better understanding of where there's opportunity and need, and what our role can be there. So we're much more narrowed now in our focus. We have three areas: poverty to possibility, strong communities, and all that kids can be. And we can work with partners in lots of ways. Some of it's about funding, but it's also about that relationship and those opportunities to collaborate sometimes in a bigger way.
Right.
And so you might want to take this, and it tells a little bit about what people told us matters to them in the community.
Okay.
Because it's not about what service providers or the experts say we need. It's what the community members have said they need.
Exactly.
And that's how we've changed our investment strategies.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is a situation where it's not just one person or one organization. This is everyone in the community playing a part to work towards a sustainable future. It's citizens, it's young people, it's seniors, it's everyone in between, because it really does take an entire community to move this forward. Our goal is to have a healthy, vibrant community where people have opportunities, where all people have opportunities. And I think that that's really at the heart of where we're striving to go. Community is about the people that live here, that work here, that play here. It's the people that are going to school here. It's everything from healthcare and services to libraries and culture and everything in between. But those are really important pieces to a healthy economy. And when we think about economy, we think about jobs. Well, we have wonderful jobs here and great opportunities for career and advancement. But in order to attract people to come to our area or to stay in our area, we have to have that quality of life. That is truly what people are looking for. And the environment is a piece of that as well. We want to have a healthy environment. That is critical to all of us. We need a sustainable environment. We need fresh food, clean drinking water, and long-term management and planning to keep everything the way we want it to be. So it's together that we can have the kind of community that we all want to live in and raise our children and our families in, but also to bring other people in to share. I work with an amazing team, just some of the most dedicated and committed volunteers you could ever hope to find. And we're all in it because we believe work we do makes a difference in the community. It changes lives. And that's pretty darn fulfilling to think that, together we can actually make people's lives better and give people hope and opportunities. And it doesn't get any better than that.